Hello again, everyone. Recently, there's been an assassination attempt on Marshal Kim Jong Un, the supreme leader of North Korea. And there were some articles in May 5th, a couple of them. There's one that was in Politico, another one in Fox News. They're probably wire service articles. AP. And apparently, in these articles, North Korea accused the U.S. and South Korea, their spy agencies, of an unsuccessful assassination attempt on Kim Jong Un, so on and so forth. And that was last month. And then around that same time, this article is from May 27th. And the U.S. deployed a third aircraft carrier battle group up on the east coast of North Korea, between Japan and North Korea. And so I saw these articles last month, and I said, well, you know, business as usual. And then yesterday morning, North Korea put up a YouTube video about the assassination attempt. And it's actually at 23 minutes and 33 seconds, something like that. It's a pretty long video. And they wanted some detail about what happened. And so I looked at the video pretty carefully, and I took a bunch of screenshots, and I made a lot of notes. The video is really badly edited. It's difficult to understand what took place at what specific time. It really could use some editing and some, you know. But anyway, it was pretty specific in what happened, and you know, you're obliged to fill in some blanks on it. There's this guy by the name of Kim Jong-il. Here's his picture here. And apparently he's one of these contract employees that North Korea sends gangs of workers to other countries. They were in Africa for a while and everything. Now they're mostly in Russia. And he was working on he's a lumberjack, you know, pulling wood out of Russia, and usually Russia sells the timber to Japan and South Korea. So while he's up there, a guy by the name of Do Hui-yoon here made his contact, and this Do Hui-yoon is a director of something called CHNK, which is the Citizens Coalition for Human Rights of Abductees and North Korean Refugees. That's this Do fellow. And so he met him up there, and this was in June of 2014. And this Do recruited this Kim fellow, the lumberjack. And in September of 2014, and as well as I can tell from the video, Kim received a Samsung tablet from somebody named Kim Sergey at Khabarovsk in Russia, which is I think a town of 500,000–600,000 people, a city there along the Amur River. And he also gave Kim $20,000 in a satellite telephone. And then we go back down for almost a year later, August 2015, according to this video, if I'm reading it right. A guy by the name of Han, what was his name here? Han, he's I guess they didn't give his last name. And he's a chief of the NIS team, the National Intelligence Service of South Korea. He's like South Korea's CIA. So he flew up there, and he was leading the team that had recruited this this Kim Jong Un. And so he flew up there and gave Kim a satellite telephone or something like that. He got and $20,000. The story gets a little disjointed here, but so on and so forth. Here's a picture of Han, a couple pictures of him, one and then another one. And then we come down to, it's the video said that Kim was given a satellite phone about 3 or 4 times. So this guy had a lot of satellite phones. And then he said, well, he's given $20,000, $10,000, $100,000. And, you know, how much money did the guy get? And then they either infiltrated Kim Jong-il back into North Korea, which is pretty difficult to understand why they would do that. He was supposed to be the assassin, but he was on this job with this team, so how did he get away? They said that he was his friends. Here's a picture of Kim's friends. And they said he was lazy, really didn't want to work, so on and so forth. He didn't make friends well, or he didn't understand people very well. And then this Han fellow from the NIS and this Kim, they got together and they rehearsed how they were going to kill Kim Jong Un. They named the operation, given it a code name, Kill Air, H-E-I-R, Kill the Air. And so they had something going where they would, there were 2 kinds of substances they were going to use. Either a nano-poisonous substance, this is their words, a nano-poisonous substance in an air conditioner duct and activate it with a voice command switch. Or they were going to introduce polonium directly into Kim Jong-un's body somehow. Like that, remember it was the former the former KGB agent or FSB agent that defected to the UK, hooked up with MI6, and apparently the Russians tracked him down and poisoned him with polonium. They put a dose in his tea. Alexander Litvinenko was his name. Here's a picture of him here. A picture of him before and then when he was dying. So Litvinenko died 3 weeks after he drank this polonium in a cup of tea. So they were figuring on how to put polonium, I guess, on Kim Jong-un's chair, or how to intercept the imports coming in from wherever and put the polonium in food, or put it in furniture, put it in vehicles, however they were going to get poison Kim Jong-un with. And Han, which was the NIS agent, he said that the polonium they would get from the CIA because they didn't have any way of making it or manufacturing this poison. And they also, remember, had that biological weapon, some sort of a canister that they were going to try to release in an air conditioning duct with the voice-activated switch. That one makes more sense to me. The sarin gas or a nerve agent or something like that, something that would be dissipated as an aerosol, because it's only effective in an aerosol. So that one makes sense to me. And one thing and another. I mean, you can look at the video if you want to. It's kind of, you know, I couldn't make a lot of sense of it. But they had pictures. I mean, they had this this fellow. There was another NIS agent named Jo Ki-chol here, and another fellow from who's Chinese, Zhu Guanghai, and he was the director of this Qingdao operation. They set up a company, and Qingdao Nazca Trade Company Limited, and they set it up in one of these hotels. Well, it's a Wanda Hotel or whatever they called it. So the North Koreans really had a lot of detail in this video, even though it was disjointed. But the details themselves, they had pictures of the equipment, the cell phone, the satellite phones, and so forth. They had pictures of how they were smuggled in, and other things were smuggled in these boxes. So there's a lot of detail there, and they could have laid it out more logically, more rationally. I wish they had. But that still doesn't mean it's not good information. And this really started. I started thinking about this and going, well, an assassination attempt on Kim Jong Un, because whenever the U.S. does a regime change, they like to get to the leader and kill the leader. The U.S. has done that several times. They did it on Saddam Hussein. They invaded the country. No, he didn't have WMDs, but everybody swore he did. But the CIA knew he didn't have any weapons of mass destruction. But they went in there, and they said he did, and went in there. They hunted him down, pulled him out of the hole in the ground, and 3 years later, they hanged him by the neck until dead. And then when the U.S. invaded Libya, they hunted down Muammar Gaddafi, chased him down. If I remember correctly, Obama spent $1 billion of our money. NATO was down there desperately trying to find Gaddafi. And they finally found him hiding in a culvert underneath a road. They pulled him out of there, and the jihadists that the U.S. was financing, they pulled Gaddafi out of there. They beat him up pretty badly. They shot him in the stomach. And then they spread-eagled him over the hood of a car and sodomized him with a bayonet. So that's the way the U.S. and its accomplices deal with what's called a beheading operation or a decapitation operation. And apparently that's what was going on here. They're desperately trying to kill Kim Jong Un so they can have regime change in North Korea. And they're trying to decapitate the leadership. And the Pentagon says, oh, no, we don't do beheading operations. Well, they do. Just look at what happened to Muammar Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein and several other people. I mean, how many times did the U.S. try to kill Fidel Castro? A lot of times. So, what's this, 100, couple hundred? So, this is not, it doesn't take any stretch of the imagination to know what's going on here in North Korea. And so this is where we got to put two and two together and go, well, how would they, Kim Jong Un would be pretty difficult to find because he moves around a lot. He's always on the go, going out to these military units, or he's construction sites. He's over in the fishing thing, how the fishing fleet's doing. He's, with kids, or he's doing something with kids, or with some construction site he's got going on. So he's always on the go. So it's difficult to whack a guy out if you don't know where he's going to be at a certain place at a certain time. There was one place that you can always find Kim Jong Un at a certain place and a certain time. And that's Kumsusan, I don't know how they pronounce it, Kumsusan, Palace of the Sun. It's a picture of it here. And that's where Kim Jong Un goes to pay his respects to his father, and his grandfather. They lie in state there. It's kind of their mausoleum type thing. And they have all their personal effects laid out. And so Kim Jong Un would go there on April 15th, last April 15th, because that's the birthday of his grandfather, Kim Il-sung. And that's called the Day of the Sun. And he goes there as precisely at midnight. In the stroke of midnight, he comes in with an entourage. And they walk in ranks. All these people, this is the total leadership of North Korea. They walk in. They walk up to a black line. Kim Jong-un toes that line while everybody's a little bit back. He toes that line, and then he does a full kowtow, 90 degrees. Here he is here. Bow. The civilians bow, and the military people salute. So ranks come forward, bow or salute, the next rank, and the next rank, and the next rank, and then they go around and look at all the displays. Kim Il-sung's automobiles, his boat, his whatever, all this stuff, pictures, gifts, and they go around and look at all that, and it's a ritual. So he can be found there, also paying his respects to his father, and at other times. He goes there at New Year's. So apparently what I'm thinking is on April 15th, that's when they tried to hit him. I'm guessing, I don't know for sure. But if they could put that nerve gas in an air conditioning duct and trigger it, well, these guys are in there, 200 or 300, 400 people, and it may even be with Ri Sol-ju, Kim Jong-un's wife, First Lady of North Korea. She's called the mother of that's her kind of her status, the mother of the country. And she comes there sometimes with her husband. And she toes the line. She'll come right up to the line, with her husband. And but imagine what would happen if that nerve gas killed all these people. I mean, well, first it would be mass murder. Just not an assassination, that's mass murder. But with all the grief, I mean, the country would be paralyzed with grief, and there'd be confusion, who's in charge. And under this, while the country's paralyzed, then the U.S. with their aircraft carriers can move in with their fleet, their airplanes, and basically take over, and with a minimal loss of casualties. Probably only 500,000 or 1 million people in North Korea would die, which I think the U.S. would consider a small price to pay to get the country back for South Korea. Because South Korea believes that North Korea belongs to it. North Korea is an illegitimate nation, even though North Korea has a seat in the UN, and a lot of countries have embassies in North Korea, including the UK and Germany, right in Pyongyang. So the UN thinks North Korea is a legitimate country, but South Korea does not. They didn't even sign the armistice. And they said, we don't recognize North Korea. So they want to get North Korea back for themselves with all that great mineral wealth, trillions of dollars of mineral wealth locked up in those mountains. And Japan would like to get in on that. And the U.S. would love to take North Korea and give it back to South Korea. That's their thing. So, but it didn't happen. And how did North Korea find out about the plot, with this this Kim Jong-il person? I'm almost inclined to believe that they knew about it almost from the beginning. I think they kind of figured out what's going on, because they keep a pretty close eye on their workers. And so when this worker was approached by somebody else, they go, well, who is this guy? And what's he talking to Song-il about? And so they followed them, they watched them, and they uncovered the plot as it unfolded. So, Kim Jong-un was probably never in real danger, but they let it unfold so they could find out more information. Because it got all these pictures, these hidden pictures. It's almost like a James O'Keefe operation with these hidden cameras in briefcases and whatever. So that gives us an indication that North Korea pretty much had an idea from the beginning what's going on. And so they kind of followed it, like I said. But anyway, just think about it, man. What would happen if all those people died? I mean, that would be terrible. It would be the responsibility of the National Intelligence Service and the CIA working together. And just, I mean, that's just too horrible to contemplate. And then the resulting confusion and the war that would happen. So, but anyway, that's all I have to say about that. And it looks like something did take place, but not quite sure what, because the video is not absolutely clear. But anyway, if you like, you can go watch it. So that's all I have to say about that for the moment. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.